Hi there guys, Harvey here from the Red and Blue Site YouTube channel, doing a quick review of the Palace game, Palace against Leicester, for you guys on Back of the Nest. Disappointing to come away with a defeat there. It was one of those games in this mini run of tougher fixtures we've got. It was the one game I singled out as one that, at home we've got to try and look to get something on the board against this lot. And that was before obviously the point against Arsenal. And in the end it was obviously finished 2-0 to Leicester. Start of the first half, of course, and the lineup. I thought the lineup was spot on. I like how consistent Roy's now been with the lineup, despite the obviously injuries aside. You've got to rotate with injuries, but he's sticking with you. We kind of know what our best 11 is at the moment. It's going to be Cahill and Tompkins at centre back. The back four kind of speaks for itself, and the keeper. But the midfield three of Luca, MacArthur, Chiarte, we know that's our best three in the midfield this season at least. So I like how consistent it is, because consistency in lineup brings consistency in performances, and the first half showed that. I thought the first half we were very, very even with Leicester. I thought there were no real clear-cut chances to speak of. Both keepers had quite quiet first halves, but despite that, it was quite an entertaining first half, quite an entertaining 0-0 going into half-time. There were spells in the game where we obviously had a lot of possession or started doing quick tempo, quick pace, which I thought was good. There's times where I've criticised the team for not being quick enough with our tempo and our build-up, especially in counter-attacks. And it's kind of cost us chances going forward, in my opinion. But I thought the tempo from both sides were good. It was good today. And that was the main reason why the first half was quite entertaining to watch, despite it being 0-0. Yeah, there were 5 or 10 minute spells for both teams. It was kind of back and forth, and it was hard to necessarily get a foothold in the game. Dictating the tempo was something that neither side really did. It was just in general quite a high-paced game, in my opinion. There were chances that definitely, I think Leicester, the way they set up, it was clear how they were going to approach the game, and they did it very effectively, I thought. Knocking the ball around the back, trying to draw Palace in, and there were times in the first half where we definitely were drawn in from our half sort of block that we were playing into a full press, and we started pressing them in their half because they were knocking it around deep in their area. And the way they can just switch on and then play out from the back, and 1, 2, 3 passes already into our half. That is what they wanted, I think, going into the game, and they managed to beat our press a couple of times, play a quick direct ball into Vardy. Guaita came out and smothered it really nicely. There was another chance as well with Perez, where Van Aanholt came brilliantly and swept and took the ball away from him at the last second. So there were chances there that could have gone Leicester's way there, that on another day they may have scored from those. But and I think it was textbook from them how they set up and they approached that in the game, and it worked effectively. And there were a couple, obviously in the second half, I think we kind of dealt with it a bit better. But in the first half, they were definitely drawing us into their half with their knocking it around the back, and then were very quick and direct with their counter-attacks, and it worked quite well for them. But in general, first half positive, something to build on there, really good foundations to build on for the second half. But unfortunately, the second half was just poor, and there's no other word for it. It's just poor. Van Aanholt was probably the only player I'd single out as having a really poor game. I thought he had a bit of a shocker, to be honest. And the first goal was ultimately his fault. Obviously, with players like Maddison in your side for Leicester, he's just so good from set pieces. First half, they had a number of corners, free kicks, and the whip, the pace and the whip and the accuracy. To get all of those three points bundled into one with your deliveries from set pieces, it's really difficult to get, but the pace, the whip, the accuracy, every time, without fail, was brilliant, and they did look dangerous. And off the back of last week, we conceded 2 from set pieces against Arsenal. I thought, okay, if we keep letting Maddison put these deliveries in, we're going to have some problems here, because he's absolutely ripping us apart with these deliveries. They were fantastic. We were doing okay defensively, much better than against Arsenal with them. But then the first goal came, unfortunately, from a set piece. Cleared the first corner out. Nice tip over the bar from Guaita. And then whipped in from Maddison. And it was one of his worst deliveries of the game, in my opinion. I thought it should have been cleared at the near post. Van Aanholt was there as a screen at the near post. And for some weird reason, he tried to flick it clear instead of just jumping high enough to get a full head on the ball. And in the end, he didn't even get hold of the flick properly. Just glanced off his head to Soyuncu, who nodded it in really easy 1-0. And that was disappointing. That was a poor goal to concede in the fashion that we conceded it, because it was a very even game, as I said, and it looked like it was going to be one moment of magic almost that was going to separate the sides. And in the end, it was just, we kind of, I wouldn't say gift them a goal, but it was very poor, very sloppy one to concede. And then we were on the back foot, and we did try. I can't say that we weren't trying to get that goal. We were doing passing play. Tempo was still quite high at times, but you just got to hold your hat off to Leicester. You know, they were very, very good defensively. Evans and Soyuncu were very, very good at centre back. Schmeichel had nothing to speak of in terms of saves in the second half. He had one that he smothered from Wilf, and Wilf had a very quiet game in my opinion. He was okay in the first half when he got the ball, but when he hardly got the ball in the second half, and when he did, too many flicks and not enough running at the defence, which is what he's good at. In general, that was the case with the team. We did very well, I thought, passing and trying to break into the Leicester half, but once we got in and around the final third, just lack of quality, lack of chances created, and that cost us in the end. And then the second goal was just an absolutely beautiful move from Leicester. Can't fault Palace at all for it. It was just a beautiful goal. Vardy slots it home, and it finished 2-0.